Oppenheimer versus Nakamoto. J. Robert Oppenheimer and Satoshi Nakamoto were both historical figures who discovered truths about the nature of reality, which led them to invent civilization-altering technologies, inventions that were able to harness the power of physics to alter human incentive structures. Let's compare their respective discoveries and inventions. Oppenheimer, the latest film by legendary filmmaker Christopher Nolan, is what you'd expect it to be. A mostly historically accurate, brilliantly acted, somewhat unnecessarily convoluted 3-hour epic with some stunning cinematography and a tremendously suspenseful score.
This is a national emergency.
Detonator charged.
The film is about the life and adventures of J. Robert Oppenheimer, a brilliant physicist who receives somewhere between a shitload and a fuck-ton of taxpayer money from the good people of the US government to build a brand new town in the outskirts of New Mexico called Los Alamos and conduct a little science experiment there with some of his friends. The experiment consists of constructing an atomic bomb to blow up something important before the evil Nazis of Germany get to do it first. Whatever country wins the latest world war gets the privilege of running the world's master money printer, making everyone on Earth who doesn't live in that country pay for all that country's stuff. In other words, world wars are the consensus mechanism for the fiat monetary system. Oppenheimer reasons that by constructing the biggest, baddest bomb ever, he would contribute to world peace, since no country would ever dare to attack another country again, especially not the US, with the knowledge that doing so would, in all probability, be a suicidal move. He reasons that the whole world would be in a sort of perpetual Mexican standoff once everyone had witnessed the destructive power of his invention. Once the bomb is finally tested and ready for shipping, a bunch of people with medals on their jackets decide not to show the devastating power of the bomb by destroying some military target, but to blow up 2 mid-sized Japanese cities instead. At this point, the evil Nazis had already lost the war, but no worries. The good people of the US government had already been at war with Japan for 4 years, and they deserved to be bombed just as much as anyone. The bomb dropped on Hiroshima, known as Little Boy, had an estimated energy release equivalent to about 15 kilotons of TNT, or roughly 63 terajoules. The bomb dropped on Nagasaki, known as Fat Man, had an estimated energy release equivalent to about 20 kilotons of TNT, or roughly 84 terajoules. These 2 bombs alone killed around 210,000 people. Oppenheimer thought of himself as politically neutral, but unfortunately for the good people of the US government, he had some friends who were big fans of Karl Marx, and during the construction of the test bomb in Los Alamos, one of these old friends stole some bomb blueprints and gave them to the not-so-good people in the Kremlin. Because of this, Bobby Oppenheimer got all his credentials revoked, as he apparently couldn't be trusted. The Mexican standoff Oppenheimer had envisioned finally became a reality when the Soviets blew up the Tsar Bomb, the largest nuclear bomb ever detonated on October 30th, 1961. The test took place on the Novaya Zemlya archipelago in the Arctic Ocean, and the bomb had an estimated explosive yield of about 50 megatons of TNT equivalent, making it the most powerful human-made explosion in history. 50 megatons equals about 2,090 terajoules of energy. The Cold War had now begun. Now, fast forward to 2009. The Cold War is over, and the US is printing more and more dollars every year through the Federal Reserve Bank. A bank which, by the way, is not federal and doesn't have any reserves. The world is relatively peaceful, but some cracks in its fraudulent monetary system are starting to show. The risk of economic depression after the 2008 financial crisis has been pushed into the future as both the Democratic and the Republican parties of the US have decided that printing more dollars is the cure-all for all economic diseases. A shadowy cypherpunk named Satoshi Nakamoto releases a white paper and bootstraps the Bitcoin network. Satoshi highlights the problems inherent in the fiat system by inscribing the Genesis block with a headline from a newspaper. The Times, January 3, 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. Nakamoto's system introduced a new consensus mechanism to the world called proof of work. This mechanism makes it more expensive for participants in the system to try and cheat it than playing by the rules. What this allows for is a new monetary system with a fixed supply cap that no one can tamper with, making world wars and atomic bombs somewhat obsolete. When you cannot know how much another person or country owns and cannot take it by force, bombing people makes little sense. Bitcoin is now born. Some environmentally concerned alarmists criticize this new consensus mechanism for consuming too much energy. Still, in doing so, they fail to realize the energy use of the fiat monetary system's consensus mechanism, world wars. The Bitcoin network has displaced around 1,800 terajoules of energy so far. All this energy has gone into securing the network, allowing a global, free market, sound money economy to exist. An economy where all transactions are voluntary without any leakage into the hands of greedy third-party parasitic institutions. Also, this is less energy than what the Tsar Bomb alone released. The energy wasted on the fiat monetary system and the resource misallocation that comes with it far exceeds what Bitcoin allegedly wastes. It takes a special kind of ignorance to criticize the solution without first understanding the problem. The kind of ignorance that only decades of exposure to government propaganda can instill in people. Now imagine what Robert Oppenheimer could have created if he had operated under a sound money standard. If world peace is the goal, the worst thing a person can do is work for a government. Governments are responsible for the worst crimes against humanity that have ever been committed. Only by refusing to obey their commands can we ever achieve world peace. The problems created by the fiat system are immeasurable, as are the benefits of accepting this new reality and becoming a fully fledged Bitcoiner and consensualist. You can't fight poverty by fighting prosperity, nor can you achieve world peace by force. Non-aggression is the only way, and this is what Bitcoin is ultimately about. In summary, Oppenheimer was right in thinking that changing people's incentives by harnessing the power of physics was the correct path to world peace. The crucial thing he left out of the argument was his own incentives. He couldn't see the dollars dangled before his eyes for what they truly were. Bait. Science propels humanity forward, but powerful discoveries can have devastating effects in the hands of the wrong people. Nakamoto discovered a way to remove those hands from the equation entirely. Bitcoin is peace.